You probably use open source software every day, whether you know it or not. Things such as Firefox, Chrome, Linux, those are all examples of open source software. And basically, what it is just software where the source is put on the internet where other people can contribute, modify, change. And for the most part, you can do what you want with it as long as it's in accordance to the license. But today we're going to look at this program called MacHG. It's a Macurl client for OS X, and what Macurl is a versioning system just like Git and Subversion. But I use Macurl in my personal and team projects, and I use Git for my open source projects. But MacHG is a GUI client for Macurl, and the creator open sourced the project here on Bitbucket, and so we're going to download this source and make some changes because there's a few things that I don't like about it. So here's the application, and I've already have the source code downloaded. Downloading source code from Git or Bitbucket or Google Code is very easy. They usually have tar or zip packages that you can download if you don't feel like using the versioning system to get it. But all I've done was download the source code for this app inside this app, and I've made a few changes. So if I go up to Action and hit Commit All Files, we get this window to do the committing in. And if you look down here at the bottom, this commenter and date are unchecked by default. And whenever you're working on a team or just by yourself, you usually want to have your name tacked on to the commit, and it's always good to have a date and timestamp tacked onto here. And for some reason this is not checked by default, and so every time I've done commits I've had to check this over and over again, and it gets old. So because this software is open source, we can download it and change what we want. Alright, so here's the source code from the project. It's an Xcode project, so we can go ahead and open it up in Xcode. And because this is someone else's code, someone else's application, it's hard because you're not familiar with it. So to best find what you're looking for, you need to have an idea of what you want to change, and then just use the search or find functions inside the IDE or whatever. So up in search box, since I know it's on the commit page, I'll just type in commit, and these are the files that are named commit. And I'm not a Objective-C or Cocoa developer, but I know this XIB file is the interface builder file. So if I open that up, we can see that this is the window that I want, and here are my two checkboxes that I want to set to check by default. So if I click on it and I look over in the inspector, I can see that it has a binding to committer option. So that may be something I want to search for inside the code. So a .h file is just a header file, but we want the .m file, and we're going to use the find functions again. So I'll go to find, edit find, and then usually just start typing in whatever you're searching for. So I'll start with committer. Alright, if I can spell that right. And then we'll just start searching through this document top to bottom. And we kind of know what we're looking for because checkboxes are Boolean, so they're either true or false. And this is skipping some, but right here we have this set committer and then a set date. and they're set to no as default. So I kind of just figured that in Objective-C, Booleans are yes and no instead of true or false, like in most other programming languages. So usually when you have an open source project, if you make any changes, you'll want to add a few comments. So I'll just say add the date and then say my name, so that someone knows if they are looking through this code that this is the change that I made on such date. And then I'll set the committer to yes, and then the date option to yes. And then I'll add another change comment here. Alright, so let's save that. I'll hit build and run and see if we can compile this. And this has launched the compiled version. And if I jump in here and then I hit action commit all files, we can see that we changed it correctly, it didn't break anything, and the committer and date are set to true by default. So I hope this helps you better understand open source software and how you can leverage it to do what you want to do. If something bothers you in an open source project, go ahead and change it. Don't feel bad or that you're changing the original developer's code. This is what open source is all about. So hope you like it and have fun messing around with Source.